Today we are going to talk about stand up, fight for your rights, stand up for yourself, be assertive, set boundaries. When you are being taken advantage of, let your voice be made known. And because most people, everybody is looking out for themselves. And when you do, with businesses or with friends or family, as we talked about in other previous videos, people tend to look out for themselves and they can walk on your toes. And unless you're vocal, things don't change. You don't get the results that you want. And I can't tell you how many times. Oh, before we get to that, a quick plug. If you want be patient with me for my regular viewers as I do these plugs. It's how I put food on the table. And if you want affordable coaching, you want something that is really going to have dramatic impact on the quality of your life, and everybody needs coaching, everybody benefits from coaching. I have a coach. Shoot me an email, it's in the description, and the consultation is absolutely free, no obligation. The first session, $5, no obligation, and then the prices are extremely affordable for an experienced coach. So I've had a lot of experience in practice. I would like to challenge myself to speak up when I normally would take the path of least resistance and not say anything. And it's really at the beginning can be a little bit scary, speaking up and rocking the boat and letting your voice be known. But after you do it, it feels exhilarating. And so in this video, I want to focus more on social situations. Maybe you're out going to a restaurant, or maybe you're out going to, doing business with a place of business, and you are not getting what you want. And so what most people do is they oh, okay, I just won't go back there again. Oh, I'm not going to say anything. Oh, I'll just, pay it, or I'll just deal with it, or I'll just eat the food even though I don't enjoy it. And what I really, what we practice on in coaching is what I call socially stretching. Socially stretching for yourself and waking up each day and looking for opportunities that you can be vocal. Your voice can be made known. And I'll just give you a few examples. I was eating in a restaurant. I'll give you two restaurant examples. I was eating in one restaurant, and it was one of those places, kind of like Chipotle style places. And there was just, the portions were really small, and it was a newer place. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to come back here. It was overly expensive for what I got. The portions were really small, and I said I'm never going to go back here. And then I go, nope. Here's an opportunity for social stretch. And I knew the owner was there, and it was really busy. So what happens is when we want to socially stretch or push ourselves out of the comfort zone, it's very easy to make excuses. And so, the monkey mind will say, oh, he's too busy. And it was during the lunch hour. He was too busy, do it next time, but I'm not going to be there next time, or just forget about it. But no, I pushed past that resistance, and I called him over to the table, and I said, would you like some honest feedback? He said, sure. He sat down, and we had this, whole long conversation. And he said, hey, I really appreciate it. We are a work in progress. We just opened the business, and I'm going to make the necessary adjustments. That was fantastic. It felt good on my end, and hopefully it was helpful on his end as well. Another restaurant example was this happened last week, where I went to a restaurant, and it was kind of expensive. It was a hamburger place, and it was a little bit pricey. And the manager came by. You know how managers can do, oh, how was everything? And most of the time people just say, oh, yeah, everything was fine, thank you. And I really said, nope, you know what? I'm not going to take that path of least resistance. I'm going to give the honest feedback. And so I gave them honest feedback on the quality of food. And she actually, one of the items that was really not good, she brought it to me again. And she was very appreciative and thankful that I gave that feedback. She's like, we want to know, we want to improve, we're not perfect. And I really appreciate that. And that felt good. Again, it's benefiting me, and it's by socially stretching, and it's benefiting them. And then, don't even get me started like with doctors' offices and dentists. You know, most people don't question doctors and don't question dentists and don't do their own research. So we end up, you know, just whatever they say we end up doing, and realize the system is geared towards the quick fix. The system is not geared towards light. I went to the doctor and for just a routine checkup, and I just told him about some symptoms I had, and within 5 minutes I had 3 prescriptions. Never asked me about my sleep, never asked me about stress and anxiety, never asked me about my exercise, my diet, nutrition. You know, doctors, they have to see a lot of patients. It's a money-making business, and it is designed to get you in and out and to be profitable. So you really have to be vocal and stick up for yourself. And I went to the dentist, and the dentist is trying to sell me all these upgrades, and you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to buy this special toothpaste and mouthwash and all this stuff. And I could see how if there's not if you don't feel confident, if you don't feel assertive, how you can easily fall into the trap. I just last week heard about someone, oh, it's actually 2 weeks ago. Their dog was feeling a little bit sick, took them to the vet and got a $1,000 bill. And it was, you know, the dog was just a little bit lethargic and things like that. Now, I don't know the details of it, whether all those tests are necessary, but just keep in mind they're going to err on the side of what is most expensive, and they're going to say, well, it's to help you. It's to, you know, help your dog. And, you know, I brought my dog, the first day I got my dog in, I brought the dog into the vet, and it was a healthy dog. It was it wasn't the first day, it was probably, you know, the third or fourth day that I had her. Completely healthy dog. They wanted to bill me for $350 or $370, something, you know, really outrageously high like that. And I was shocked, and I think, you know, had I not been assertive, and I was assertive to the point where the vet was, you know, we were like, it got a little bit tense between us, because she's saying, you need this shot, you need this test, you need this, you need that, you need the other. And I'm like, wait a second, let me think about it, let me do my own research. And they're used to people being compliant, and you've got to speak up. You got to speak up, otherwise your voice is never heard, things don't change, and you don't get to stretch that, build that social confidence and get your situation taken care of. And so I ended up saying no. And then when I went to leave, they had, you know, things that they just tacked on there that, you know, they cut her nails. You know, I asked, oh, can you just show me how to cut my dog's nails? And they wanted to charge like 20 bucks or something like that. And they actually put it on the bill. They never notified me, hey, this is going to be a $20 fee. I spoke up, they took it off the bill. So please, speak up. Another example I have is I waited home for the cable and internet company, waited home on a Saturday, and they never showed. They said they'll be here, you know how they do those windows, we'll be here from 8 to 1 p.m. or something like that. So I arranged my whole schedule to be home. They call, oh, sorry, you know, we're not going to be able to make it. We got extra busy today. You know, I'm not going to have that. So I called, spoke up, and took care of the situation where they were able to compensate me for my lost time and waiting around. So that's you know, the business side of it. Another interesting thing happened. I was waiting in line, and it was a line where, you know, people do lottery tickets and cashier's check and things like that. And there was one woman ahead of me. She was filling out a form, and I said, what I said? I said, are you ready, or can I go ahead of you? And she got so cross with me. You know, look, she didn't say anything. She gave me this dirty, evil look, and was like incensed that I would have the nerve to ask to go ahead of her. And she gave me this evil, dirty look. Didn't say anything, and so. Okay, the one thing about being in nature is you can get eaten up by mosquitoes. So she gave me this dirty look, and I was sitting there, and I was like, she didn't say anything, and I said, okay, I could sit here, bite my tongue, not say anything, and just, you know, go on my merry way. But I said, nope, this is an opportunity to social stretch. So I said to her, I said, why did you look at me like that? You know, why did you give me an evil look? She said, I said, all I was doing is asking if I could go ahead of you because it seemed like you weren't ready because you were still filling out your forms. She's all, you don't work here? You know, who are you to tell me when I can go and when I can't go, and, you know, when it's my turn and when it's not my turn? And I was just, I was, you know, I realized that I was not dealing with a rational person, you know, a cool, even-headed person, so I'm not going to escalate the conversation. I said my piece, and I'm not going to, you know, have a full-blown argument. And then you know, I think I said something like that, you know, ma'am, all I was doing was asking, you know, if you were ready. And if you weren't ready, I was going to go ahead of you. So then something interesting happened. She had a bunch of papers. She dropped one of her papers on the floor, and I don't want to hold animosity towards people because I'm the one who ends up getting hurt. I'm the one who ends up getting burned. So she dropped the paper. I picked up the paper, you know, did a nice gesture, handed it to her, and she looked at me and begrudgingly said thanks. And then as she was leaving, we had eye contact with each other. I smiled and waved to her, and she didn't wave back, but she smiled back. I said, man, that's beautiful. What a great opportunity for to socially challenge myself and to grow and to yes, be authentic and say how I really feel. I was frustrated with her response to me. And I was going to express that. Now, just with this one caveat, this doesn't mean, you know, to have these confrontations and to, you know, escalate things. And if you see someone that they might be, you know, intimidate you or might try to, you know, escalate to a physical confrontation, you know, a lot of things, then those types of things you just let go. But, you know, in the examples where we're dealing with businesses and we're dealing with doctors or veterinarians or dentists or something like that, speak up for yourself. Do your own research. There's times that I will get advice from like insurance agents and, you know, just all different types of professions. And they have so much, lawyers too, they have so many things to know that they don't specialize in your particular area. They might not know all the details of your particular area. And so it's really important that you do your own research. You get second opinions. It makes a huge, huge difference. And that's what this is all about. It's about empowering yourself and letting your voice being known and building that confidence. That which we avoid turns into fear, and the more we avoid it, we're feeding that fear muscle, and it just grows and grows and grows until it becomes crippling. And so you want to move towards that which makes you uncomfortable. You know, we've been taught to avoid what makes us uncomfortable. I'm saying no, we want to go and move in that direction towards what makes us uncomfortable, and that's no pain, no gain. That is what is going to build that self-esteem and that confidence and that authenticity that we so desperately crave. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, subscriptions, thumbs up, and comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you. And if you want affordable coaching, please shoot me an email in the description. And until next time, bye-bye.